Hi, good morning, everyone. So we are talking about a situation where businesses are evolving to meet the requirement of the customer, which means that whether it is incorporating technology, digitization, or automation of the processes. And while we are looking at all of this, it also means that we are also creating a skill gap out there, because to meet the need of the future, it's a must that we upskill the workforce in the country. And um, a lot of this been since we spoke about chat GPT and all of that, there are a lot of reservations to say that will the new technology, will the AI create loss of jobs? I think we there's enough history right from the 19th century for us to realize that automation or technology doesn't lead to loss of jobs. It in fact creates jobs, but what it needs is upskilling and reskilling for the workforce. And keeping that in mind, there is a huge opportunity out here, because as there's automation happening, as there's technology which is getting into the conventional sectors, there is a huge opportunity for more jobs to be created. In fact, there is a World Economic Forum report which says that if technology is integrated efficiently, we will be creating 12 million jobs by 2025. So there is no way that jobs are reducing. There are more jobs. And again, to repeat, it just needs a lot of skilling, upskilling. Now at NASSCOM Foundation, we do a lot of work with the communities at large. We are in a scenario where while we are talking about access, we are talking about technology being an enabler, but we also realize that technology is the biggest divider out here, right? We are talking about a scenario where while we are saying that jobs will be created, but there's not enough talent in the country. Just let me give you an overall industry scenario. So there's a TeamLease report which says that India needs 30 million digitally skilled professionals by 2026. So that's again a huge number that we are looking at, 30 million skilled professionals, and 50% of the current workforce will have to be reskilled. Again, we are talking about the fact that there's a need for skilling and reskilling out here. And the Indian IT market has added 4.5 lakh new jobs as of 2022. So while we are seeing a lot of people losing jobs, but we are also seeing a lot of jobs being created out here. And all of this is happening because of the rapidly evolving technology, whether it is about machine learning, it is about AI, it is about automation. And so how are organizations trying to address all of this, right? We are talking about the country having a huge gap when it comes to digital literacy, right? I think it's about 58%, and out of that, it's a much lower percentage in the rural India. We are talking about an inclusive growth. But in the absence of access, in the absence of right kind of skills, is it an inclusive growth out here? We are talking about less than 40% of women who join STEM, and out of that, only 28% of women are part of the tech-based workforce. Again, it is whether it is from a gender point of view or it is from the last mile point of view. There is again a gap in terms of when we say the technology reaching the last mile. There is a need to ensure that while we are talking about internet penetration, there is also a need to understand that how people at the last mile are digitally literate. Second would be skilled. So first is to make our workforce future ready. If we can work with both women and the youth first to make digitally literate, things that we take for granted in the urban areas. We just assume that everybody knows how to use a smartphone. You go down deeper into the rural areas, you realize that smartphone is not something that one can take for granted. Let me give you an example of one of the programs that we have done in the tribal areas of MP, where there are a group of artisans who work on a certain kind of art, and that's an art there for centuries. they are creating products, but they really did not know how to sell it. So the fact that we took the first step of making them digitally literate, again, they knew about phones, they have seen the phones around, but nothing that they'd seen in their own houses, right? So the step of actually introducing how you can use internet, how you can use smartphones. And we have cases where in a period of 6 months, um, these women, their household incomes have gone up from 2,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees in a period of 6 months. So this is again in terms of digital inclusion. Without that, it is the next steps are not possible. Then we are talking about in terms of the youth. We are running a few programs across the country where we are upskilling the youth. So we have hundreds of engineers who are coming out, right? I think there was a NASSCOM data which said that only 30% of the engineers who are coming out of the engineering college are actually capable of getting jobs in the tech industry or in IT-enabled roles. So that means what is happening to the 70% of the engineers coming out, right? So again, there is a need to skill and upskill, especially when it is at the tier 2 and tier 3 academic institutions. Again, we are running a lot of programs which are about skilling and upskilling students who are studying in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and also engineers who are sitting at home without a job. And we are skilling them from skills from AI to conventional IT skills to cybersecurity, and which is leading to anything between a 70 to 90% of placement from there. So again, there is a gap in terms of what the academic institutions are offering in our country to what is the need of the industry. There is a need to address that gap. There's a lot of effort from METI. There's a lot of effort from NSDC in terms of programs where they are. METI launched a program where we are supposed to skill 400 million by 2023. I think the country is a little far away from reaching that number, but there are efforts being made to ensure that there is skilling happening at all levels. If we are saying that we have to be a $5 trillion economy by 2025, none of that is possible without making it an inclusive growth. And when I said inclusive growth again, it is about making sure that the rural India, the Bharat, is included into this story. While we may have the right kind of education in a limited way in the urban areas, both access and education and skilling is a huge gap when it comes to the rural area. So the need of ours is to ensure that people are skilled, made digitally literate at the last mile. And for that, again, the government is putting a lot of emphasis since we had in the morning an address by Niti Aayog representative. Aspirational district is a very, very important highlight for the government also. And aligning ourselves to that, in fact, we are running a few digital literacy programs in the aspirational district. We are working in about 19 states across 47 districts. And the whole idea is to saturate these districts in the next 5 years by making the communities digitally literate. When you make communities digitally literate today, you're also ensuring that you are creating a workforce for tomorrow. Because when there would be 2 steps, the same people, we're talking about, again, roles which are very unconventional. We are talking about some kind of skilling opportunities and job opportunities which don't need you to be an engineer, right? I don't know how many of you know about the fact that the Google map in terms of the whole planning was done by women sitting in the rural areas, right? So did they need to be an engineer to do that? No, they needed to be just digitally literate to do that. We are talking about opportunities of AI and data annotation and all of that, where the youth sitting wherever they are can actually get the right kind of job opportunities without encouraging too much of migration, because that's another issue that the country needs to deal with when it comes to the future workforce. So again, I would just say that I would just conclude it by saying that the need of the hour, and we need more effort. Of course, nothing can happen without a collaboration. So, what everybody earlier has spoken about, public-private collaboration, right? None of that is possible. None of the what we want to achieve is possible without that collaboration. And so that is a must. The second is that we need to introduce skilling right at the school level, the college level, and we need to make our curriculum, which is making the workforce ready for employment. It is time for us. Yes, there is recent effort in the national education policy to ensure that there are certain vocational skills, there are certain technical skills which are introduced at that level. The whole idea is that when the student comes out of class 10th and 12th, are they ready to be employed? Because we again are dealing with a population of 1.4 who may not have the ability to go through graduation. So at this level, when they're getting out of 12th standard or 10th standard, are they ready to be employed? And again, the whole automation is creating opportunities where if you provide them with the right skill sets between the age of probably 12 to 18, by the time they are passing out from the institutions, we would have a whole ready workforce out there. Also, the need is to upscale our current workforce. So these are some of the things that I think, since you introduced me as working at the impact sector, all of us at the impacts in the nonprofit world, in the impact sector, are making our efforts to make sure that we reach out, we skill, we upskill, we make it inclusive, whether it is from a gender point of view or people with disability point of view, or any other lines of exclusion which are there. So moving forward, I think there's a huge opportunity in the country because the way digitization is happening. So keeping that opportunity in mind, we will miss the bus if we do not upskill our workforce today. Without that, we'll be left behind. So whether you call it a $5 trillion economy or a $30 trillion economy, it's not possible to achieve that if it is not matched with skilling our workforce and making people digitally literate at the last mile. Yeah, thank you so much.